All right, perfect. So let me go ahead and kick this off here. So again, for anyone who has not introduced themselves, please do so in the chat. We're really interested in interacting with you today. And this is going to be a super casual event. We're really just looking to talk casually, touch base about how your FOCs are doing, and interact with you about any questions that you may have. And also hear from our lovely presentation speakers, the first of which is Ashley Bush. I am so excited to introduce Ashley. She's on camera here if you're able to see her. She is coming from Wesley Community Center in Houston. She's an FOC coach. Very thankful for her to be able to share her presentation today on financial coaching. So I will go ahead, and if we can make Ashley a co-host so that she can share her screen and her presentation, we can get started here. And we will have, just to let you all know, a 15-minute Q&A. So Ashley will be presenting for 30 minutes. And then immediately following that, we'll have a 15-minute Q&A built in so everyone can ask questions and interact with Ashley. And immediately following that, we'll have a 30-minute breakout session where you'll have the option to choose from 2 breakout rooms. One is going to be centered on twin accounts, and one will be centered on debt, student and medical debt. So we'll get to that in just a second, but I will pass it over to Ashley now. Hi, Ashley.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me? All right, thank you all so much. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for allowing me to be a featured speaker for financial coaching. It is a Monday, so I know some of us may be dragging in from the weekend, but again, thank you for being here this morning. So I am Ashley Bush, the financial coach for Wesley Community Center out of Houston, Texas. And I understand that you all are part of the rural area of LISC. I, of course, being in Houston, are a part of the inner city. So today what we're going to talk about is you all's experience, of course, as financial coaches. I'm going to provide some experience myself. I will have a PowerPoint. However, I am not the one that wants to sit here and hear myself talk the entire time. You do not have to show yourself on camera. It'd be nice if you all do, but interaction is important, right? And so I am not the expert in everything. I also learn from you all as well. So this will be an interactive session, of course, but at the same time, a learning session for all of us, okay? So please feel free, if you want to participate, you can unmute yourself, or you can simply type in the chat box, and I will make sure that I respond to your questions or, of course, your feedback. So Francesca, if you could just let me know when we get close to that 30 minutes, because there's going to be some interacting from the very beginning, but I want to make sure I'm still being respectful of time. All right. So when we're talking about financial coaching, of course, I want to make sure that you all can see my screen. Can you all see my screen that says financial coaching? Perfect. All right. So when we're talking about financial coaching, right, a lot of times what I hear is, or what I receive, okay, is what is a financial coach? Well, I always start with what we're not. And what we aren't are financial advisors. So a lot of times, I don't know if you all have had this already, where people come to you and they say, hey, you're a financial advisor. First of all, I don't want to take that credit because I haven't taken that exam, okay, which is many hours, as we all know. But what we are coaches, right? And so can anyone, please feel free to unmute yourself and place into the chat. Coming into this role, right? I've been in this role since 2019 with a nonprofit organization, but I've been actually coaching since 2015, right? And so I had to figure out what exactly is financial coaching. We all know the textbook definition of what a financial coach is, right? But where do we start? How do we coach our clients? How do we even hold ourselves accountable, right? So I want to hear from someone in the room today. When you all thought about financial coaching, when you took the position or you start coaching, is it what you expected, right? And then what would you say, and how do you define yourself as a financial coach? So anybody could go, or I'm gonna call on somebody. So remember, I said this is interactive. So please feel free to unmute yourself or type it into the chat box. I can go first. When I first initially started financial coaching, I came from a nursing background. Okay. So I'm thinking, hey, I'm the fixer, right? Somebody presents a problem, you fix it, right? That is not financial coaching. I don't know if you've already heard it. It's probably been drilled in your head so many times, but we all know that clients are the experts in their own life and they're creative, resourceful, and whole, right? And so I always look at it as now, right? As initially as a financial coach, someone would come in and they would say, hey, I have this problem. I want to be able to budget. I want to do this. And in my head, it was a checklist. Okay, boom, we have a budget. Boom, we have this, right? And it was a checklist. Well, then I learned that is not coaching. Okay. I had a great trusting relationship with my clients, but it was, am I really doing what I expect the client to do, right? Or what we believe is smart, right? Am I checking in with my own biases? Or am I really coaching the client, right? So for me, I had to take time, and we'll talk about that a little later, to check in with myself to make sure that I understand the coaching aspect of it, right? So what I thought I was coming into being a financial coach is a fixer. And that's not what we are, right? It's a fine line, especially if you're in the Financial Opportunity Center with case management, financial coaching, employment coaching, and things of that nature, right? Sometimes we do take on case management, okay, task. However, that's not our particular role. So Corey, thank you so much for responding. So I see that when you think of financial coaching, you yourself, you think as an empowerment coach and accountability partner. I love that. And that is truly what a coach is, right? So what I will say, definitely starting out for financial coaching is, has anybody heard of the term behavior economics? I see Francesca says yes, and I can't see all of you all, but I do see some hands, so perfect. So this is where I start with as a financial coach, right? The basis of financial coaching. We all have to understand why and how we spend money, right? And the decisions that we make with our money, ourselves and our clients, because we could go in with an agenda, right? Our clients could say, hey, I want to be able to pay off debt. I want to be able to increase my credit score. And those are all great goals. But we first have to be able to understand who we are, right? That's the client and that's us. So when we're thinking about behavior economics, it is this study of how cognitive, emotional, and social factors on both the individual and the institutional level affect our decision-making in economics and finance. To sum it all up, right? Basically, again, how and why we spend money, right? So for all of you all, so I see this is your first time, so thank you, Kenneth. So great, right? We start off with the building blocks of behavioral economics, understanding ourselves and understanding our client. So can someone explain to me how they view money, right? We all have our reasons of how and why we view money, right? Maybe it was what we were taught, whether indirectly by watching our parents or our guardianship's actions, or what we were told, right? My mom was an accountant, single mother, and so she always taught me save, 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 which I am a good saver. However, what I didn't understand was credit, investing. Why am I saving? What am I saving towards, right? Understanding my why. So I knew, hey, I need to make sure that I budget. I need to make sure I have savings, but beyond that, then what do I do, right? When I'm spending my money, when I'm having obstacles, why am I spending it the way that I'm spending or not spending it, right? Because we're going to take everybody on this endless call today is going to take a money personality test to figure out what type of money person we are, okay? I won't reveal mine yet. I'll reveal it when we start taking ours, right? But what does money, let's check in with ourselves first, right? What does money mean to you? Okay. For me, it means security, right? It means a form of stability for me, right? I see power, I see security, I love it. Kenneth said his view of money, he views money as an access point to different opportunities in life when used properly. Love it. Stability, mobility, independence. I love this, right? So the fact that you all have checked in with yourself and said, hey, this is what money means to me. Then let's do the same thing with our client, right? Because in order for us to be able to truly coach them and to truly be able to understand our clients and really help them get to that next level, we first have to develop that form of trust and then understand our clients as well, right? Survival, I've been there, right? Freedom, stability, the ability to give into a community. I love it. So no matter what our view is of money, right? It all comes and it all goes, and we all utilize it to survive, right? So after we finish, of course, understanding what behavior economics and understanding ourselves as to how and why we spend money, we want to do the same thing with our client. And if you're like, okay, well, how do I do that? I have this segment, right? I have to still see this client. I have to still do workshops because in an FOC, right, it can definitely be a lot, right? Because we have a lot of tasks. However, we want to make sure that, again, that we are checking in with the client and understanding them. That can be done during our intake process, right? How many of you all are utilizing the financial health or have access to that as a form of an assessment? Anybody? Okay, I see Dean, great, Hannah. That is a form right there of checking in with our client, right? We don't want to be so formal that our clients are like, hey, I'm sitting down for a job interview, right? Be yourself. Don't try to emulate anyone else. Be yourself. They're naturally going to gravitate you when they feel that you're authentic, when they know when you care. And how do you understand that? How do you understand that? By understanding yourself and realize that with every client that walks through that door, they may be going through something, right? They may be in survival mode. They may be in a thriving mode. We don't know, but we want to make sure that we understand our own biases, right? And how we view money to make sure that when we are meeting with the client, we can sympathize and also empathize and provide resources for them as well. Okay. So remember I told you this is going to be interactive, right? So I'm going to play. Have any of you all played the game placement.org? Okay. So this is a great tool. No, okay. So this is a great tool if you all have to utilize any financial. I see Brooke said yes. I see some no's coming in. But placement.org is I'm going to stop sharing because we're going to play that. Is a game that I utilize in my workshops, is a game that I utilize to kind of be interactive with my clients, as well as help them understand, right? Behavior economics. And you'll see why in just a minute. So in this particular game, we're only going to play a little bit of it because, of course, I have 30 minutes and I want to make sure that I answer you all's questions. But the game, again, and I'm going to put it in the chat box, is called placement.org. And it's a fun way to understand behavior economics and help us realize and drill in why we spend money the way that we spend it. Okay. So in just a minute, you all will see my screen. And once you all see this, I want you to somebody to give me a thumbs up to say, hey, I see your screen. We're looking at the same thing. All right. So can everybody see that? Let's see. Perfect. Okay. So on this particular game, I'm going to call on you all in order of how I see you all on my screen. So I have two screens. So you might see me look to the left. That's because I'm looking at you on the separate screen. Okay. So basically we're going to be in this together. Okay. We have to be able to survive 30 days on $1,000. Okay. But life is going to happen to us. I don't know how many we'll get through. We're going to play this for about 10 minutes. Okay. And at 10 minutes, we're going to stop, but we're going to see how long we can survive. But each person, when I call on you, you have the challenge of selecting what our choice is going to be for that day. No pressure, okay? No judgment. Again, we all have a reason why we spend the way that we spend. So this happens once we're finished. Somebody's like, well, no, do this, do this, do this. It's okay, right? That person has full control, but we can also comment, all right? So this particular game is a little dated, so it's going to talk about the American Care Act, but the gist of it's just the same. So we're going to go along and go with this. So I'm going to start with Mr. Joseph Caesar with life. So we're gonna, again, the goal is to be able to make it through 30 days on $1,000 and what's gonna happen. So Joseph, you're gonna pick our job, okay? We have a choice of being a warehouse worker, second shift, $9 an hour, okay? From 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Or we can be an office temp making $9 an hour, okay? Or we could be a waiter or waitress, okay? Because I know we have a little bit of both in the room today, gentlemen and ladies, where we can make $2.13 an hour plus tips. So Joseph, what are we going with? Which job?
I think I'd rather be an office temp.
Office temp, all right. So that is our job. So let's see, Dean, you're next. So we have $306 weekly, okay, after taxes. So if you see, this is our balance to the left. This is day 2, so we're on day 2. Now, again, I said this is Affordable Care Act. So during this time, Dean, we got to make a decision, okay? We, of course, need insurance. We're going to decide based on our budget. Well, you're going to decide because this is on you. Again, no pressure, right? But we're going to decide which plan we're going to go with, okay? Are we going to take the gold plan for $329 a month and we have a $15 copay? Are we going to take a silver plan of $268 per month with a $25 copay? The bronze plan of $232 a month with a $45 copay? Or are we going to opt out for $12 a month?
Do we know how old we are?
Dean is a thinker. So we don't have an age limit, but we do have a child.
Oh, we have a child.
Yes, and we are single.
Then I'm gonna say the silver plan.
The silver plan, all right. So $268 a month with a $25 copay. And this particular game, guys, I love it. For the sake of time, I'm not gonna go through all of this because we are coaches. But when you play this game, it gives you some data, right? Now, of course, some of this data is, of course, older, right? But the concept is still the same. The gist of it's still the same. So we're paying, it says that we're paying $65 a copay, right? And we have solid, we're paying $65 a paycheck, excuse me. But we have solid coverage, okay? Now, our rent costs us $808 a month. We travel with an expense of $83 a month, okay? So we live further from the city, right? Because we don't make that much. But on average, individuals, and I'm one of them, okay? I live in Katy, outside of Houston. So I travel into the community center. So it's usually, I know that I'm paying more in the cost of transportation, right? And that's what this says here. So I'm gonna go with Meredith, okay? Now, we can't phone a friend, okay? Because we just can't do that, okay? However, we now have an apartment that's too small. What are we gonna do with our stuff, Meredith? Are we gonna rent a storage unit or are we gonna have a yard sale?
Oh, we can't ask the friend?
Can't ask a friend. Our friends are like, listen, I can't help you. So no, we can't even ask a friend.
Boy. Okay, we're having the yard sale. It's gotta go.
All right. So it's gotta go. We're having a yard sale and we made $150. Okay, so now we're at $342 and we're on day 5. Now we're gonna get paid at day 10, okay? So now, Bisma with V Fairs, we have a child. We need, now someone's invited them to a birthday party. Are we gonna buy a present? We have $342. We're on day 5. We get paid at day 10. Are we gonna buy that present for $10? Are we gonna send our kid to the birthday party without a present? Are we gonna keep our child home from a party?
I think I would prefer to buy a present.
All right, so we're buying a present for $10. Okay. So now we have Erica Mills. So now our kids attended this birthday party. Now at the birthday parties, their sneakers were falling apart. They played too rough, okay? They got stuck in the little balls that tore their shoes apart, okay? And now we have to buy new ones, okay? And the play pin balls, right? So are we going to go with a brand name shoe? Or are we gonna go to the thrift store?
We are definitely going to the thrift store.
All right, so we're buying thrift store shoes, $10. Our child has shoes, and I see that. Making homemade, I seen in the chat. We're going to the thrift store. All right. Sarah, Buchanan. All right, you're up next. So you've been putting off doing laundry for weeks, right? Because we've been so busy, right? We don't have a washer and dryer. Our friends don't want to wash our funky clothes. Okay, so we're not asking a friend, right? Are we going to wear dirty clothes? Or are we going to go to the laundromat? Laundromat costs us $30. Or are we going to wear dirty clothes?
We're going to go to the laundromat.
All right, so $30. We are not being stinky, okay? Now, let's see. Kim, Todd. We are pitching for a lottery pool, okay? And everyone's pitching in. We're all pitching in as coaches, okay? What are we going to do? We have $292. Are we going to play? Tracy says we're not playing, but Kim, what are you?
I agree with Tracy.
We're not
I would
playing.
not play it.
All right. So we are not playing. All right. So now it is Bernice Shelby's turn, okay? We came out of the house to discover that someone has sniped the gas from the car. Now, how they did that, I have no idea. But the point is, we don't have any gas, okay? We're single. We need to get to work. Now we're running late for work. Now, remember, Joseph said, we're a temp, okay? So are we going to take the bus? Or are we calling in sick? And again, we can't ask our friends for a ride. So, Bernice, what are we doing? Okay, Jennifer, we're going to pass it over to you. Jennifer Griggs. Everybody's saying bus. Get on the bus. Get on the bus. Jennifer, are we taking the bus? Or are we calling in sick?
We are taking the bus. You don't
bus.
call in sick.
All right. So great. We've taken the bus, but now it takes 3 buses and it takes 5 times longer to get to work. So now we lose a couple of hours of pay. But we made it to payday. All right. So for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and stop this game, right? We as financial coaches were doing pretty good. But is there anyone else that would have made a different decision if you had the choice to be able to make that decision on any of the answers?
I would have definitely not paid I would have paid the opt-out on the insurance.
Opt-out on the
I
insurance?
mean, I have been there before because the child was covered, but I was younger too.
So you said, hey, I would have opted out because you're like, hey, I would have just taken my chances. Dean, what was your reason for saying, hey, let's go ahead and purchase the silver plan?
I suppose I was thinking work is a little bit unreliable, shall we say, and I have a kid that I need to be healthy for in order to support.
Love it. So as you see, there is not a right or wrong answer, right? Again, when I said this all deals with behavior economics, we all chose different reasons, and we all might have chose the same reasons so we might have chose different reasons, the same reasons for different reasons, if that makes any sense, right? Dean has said, hey, there's some instability. I'm going to opt for going with insurance. Kim said, listen, been there, done that. My child is covered, but I'm going to opt out and I'm willing to pay the penalty, right? Neither one of them was right or wrong because it depends on how we see our lives and how we envision our day-to-day interaction, right? Because that mental health is also important, that emotional, that physical health, right? So I see some comments coming in. A lot of people have said, hey, they would have passed on the bus. Haley says, now here's what she says about this lottery, guys. First, folks may have paid for the lottery pools in hopes of winning big, even though they may see it as a waste. So she's like, listen, let's roll the dice. I want to see if I win this money, right? Nothing wrong with that, right? Trace said, what about the peace of mind? Exactly, when we're talking about behavior economics. Corey said, listen, I'm going to wash my clothes in the bathtub. I'm not going to the lateria. I'm not going to the laundromat. I am washing my clothes and I'm not going in stinky, okay? He was creative, resourceful, whole, and he said, hey, I'm washing my clothes in the bathtub. Listen, I'm from the country originally, okay? So I remember the clotheslines. I don't know, I may be telling my age by now, okay? I may look 15, no, I'm just kidding. But I remember the clothesline, right? So that was an alternative as well. So I love the fact that everyone has thought of different reasons. And some people said air dry, right? We all had a different direction of how we were getting to our goal, right? But we were still getting to the same goal. That's the same thing with our clients, guys, right? They all have different paths of how they're getting to the destination. So someone may come into you and say, hey, I want to be a homeowner. Great. You might have the same 3 people. We all have different DNA. So we all have different socioeconomic factors that have played a role. We all have our own mental health, emotional health, financial health that's played a role, right? And so our key again goes back to understanding the client, establishing that trust, and not having to be the expert, okay, in everything. You do not have to be an expert in our clients' lives. That's not our role. Our goal is to be able to walk alongside them and help coach them, right? But most importantly, again, understand and ask the simple questions. You know, when you're in the intake, when you're in that coaching, hey, I want to know a little bit about you. If they said, hey, I want to build my credit, okay, what's been your experience with credit in the past? Were you taught about credit? Do you understand the credit breakdown? Why do you want to build your credit? Again, it's going back to that why, right? Because then when we understand our why, when they understand their why, it makes coaching and it makes getting to their goals so much more easier. I love what it says of understanding the underlying bias starts with our mission statement and how we market our services to get clients in the door to begin with. Absolutely, Cassidy, right? So understanding the mission statement, understanding you, understanding the client is really going to help with those goals. I love it. Tracy said, that's right, be respectful and advisor towards their goal and ask open-ended questions. Absolutely. Again, sometimes we have to figure out, right? You're like, what do I say to the client? I have to know this resource. I have to know this. I have to know that. No, you don't. It's okay to say, hey, I don't have the answer to that and I don't know, but let me contact someone else and see if I can get that answer for you, right? But also hold the client accountable and say, hey, while I'm working on this, why don't you and I research some ways to accomplish X, Y, Z, right? That puts the accountability back in the client. It puts the accountability on you as well. So that way, when you all both come to that next financial coaching meeting, or when you both are emailing or having to check in with each other, you're holding each other accountable. Because believe me, guys, they will hold us accountable. Okay. So let's hold ourselves accountable. Any questions or comments so far before we move on? All right. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Remember I said that you all are also going to understand your money personality, right? And so everyone can see just to check in, everyone can see the PowerPoint. It's at a financial, perfect. All right. So now let's go ahead. Now that we understand or have a glimpse of behavior economics and why we spend the way that we spend, right? And understanding that about our client. We've also selected the different options. Now, everyone is going to take a money personality quiz, okay? And by that, I'm going to place this into the chat box. And I don't know if you don't have access to that because of course you're on your phone or you can't be at 2 screens at a time. Basically, if you can take part in it, great. If you can't, that's okay. But the money personality quiz basically explains to you and helps you understand and asks you a few questions, but it also helps you figure out what is your money personality, okay? Can anyone kind of guess? And we're gonna see, y'all only know me about 2 seconds, right? But what do you all think? And I'm gonna put the different money personalities back on the screen, but I want you all to guess what type of money personality I am, okay? And then I want you all to kind of look at, of course, you all's these pictures, and I want you to all to kind of just guess, right? If you can't have access to take the quiz, what type of personality you are, okay? So everyone can see the money personality characters on the screen? Perfect. All right. So we're all financial coaches getting into it, or maybe we've been a coach for a little while, right? Money monk, Okay. I see them coming in. So Jessica and Kenneth says, I am the money monk. I am getting there, right? But I am not. I am the hoarder. Okay. I am not the spender. I wish I was. So I see some coming in, right? I am the hoarder, but I am working towards the money monk. So I'm going to give you all the different definitions, right? A money monk, right, is an individual who, doesn't really have to have the extra frills, right? Who is like, money is for essentials, but I don't want to have all this money, right? They're at peace. They're usually very modest, and they're really usually grateful about the little things, right? A hoarder, which is where I tend to be, okay? And because I was also, remember I said at the beginning, my mom was like, save, save, save. So a hoarder tends to be a person who saves all the time, right? We like to prioritize our financial goals. We probably have what's called a budget, okay? And we review it periodically to make sure that, we're reviewing our budget and we're checking in with ourselves. We're most likely to have a hard time spending money on ourselves. And for our loved ones, though, we like to buy, luxurious gifts, but practical gifts as well, right? So that's a hoarder. A spender, self-explanatory, right? They enjoy using their money to buy things for themselves or for others, right? They find pleasure in that. There's also the avoider. And a lot of times our clients are avoiders, right? In my experience, we put our head in the sand, and it's like, hey, I don't know what my credit score is. I'm paying my bills, but sometimes I'm a little late, but I'm making it to paycheck to paycheck, and the next paycheck I'll have money. So I'm okay, right? That's an avoider, okay? So I see some coming into the chat. You're a recovering spender. I love that, Francesca. I love that. Recovering spender. Tracy said cautious spender, avoider, right? Hoarder, money monk. So either one of these, right? We can look at them in a good or a bad way, right? Or we can just look at them simply for what they are and identifying where we are at this point in our lives, okay? We can always progress. We can always regress. And that's the same thing with our clients, right? They might have a lot of times when our clients come into the FOC, there may be instances where they're in survival mode, right? But even in being in that survival mode, when we go over those budgets, when we go over those balance sheets, we're going, okay, so you have spent $600 on eating out, but you can't pay your rent this month, right? Initially, again, go back to identifying our bias. Are we being biased? Are we identifying, okay, or simply looking at what is on the client's budget, what is on the balance sheet, go back to understanding behavior economics, and then also think about the money personality, right? Is our client a spender? Does our client spend when they get stressed, right? That's understanding our client. So to be able to help them reach their goals, we again have to understand them and understand ourselves, right? I see a few people have taken the assessment and they said they are the bankers, right? I flip between spender and hoarder. Sometimes I feel like it's no amount is ever enough. Been there, right? So it's okay, right? No matter where we start, we always can choose where we're going. And that's the same thing for our clients as well, right? They can always choose where they're going. So I love that we've been able to identify our personalities. We've also been able to understand that behavior economics, our background, how we grew up with money, identifies and helps shape how we spend money, right? Like Tracy says, we don't want to make them feel guilty for whatever. We don't want our clients to come into a judgment zone, because let's face it, guys, a lot of times, and depending on the culture, depending on the area, we're taught, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. I might have it backwards, right? But that's how we're taught, right? Sometimes in our culture. So them coming to us definitely, is a barrier that they have to break down, right? So again, identify with your clients, understand you're biased, right? And check in with them as well. We're coming up on Q&A, so I want to make sure that I get to the nitty gritty of this. The last thing that I want us to do is decide what type of coach you want to be, right? Understand where to begin, right? And make sure that you check in with yourself and check in with the client. This financial pyramid is there, and I utilize it all the time because we got to understand where we're at level-wise and where our client is at, right? Management level, check in with ourselves. Before you start checking any emails, before you start talking to any clients, check in with yourself. Make sure that you're able to be an active listener. Make sure that you're able to process things when you're speaking to your client. Even if that means sometimes I have to listen to vibration music, right? Or pray or have a devotional, right? Before I actually meet with my clients. But when you're checking in with your clients, see what level they are. Are they on the management level? Do they have adequate income? Do they have controlled spending? Do they have adequate insurance? Because let's face it, we talked about that today. That makes a difference. So let's make sure that their foundation is set for a pyramid, for the financial pyramid, or think about it as a structure of a home as well. Let's make sure that they're starting off on a good foundation. And let's also make sure that we're understanding and checking in with ourselves and the clients. Start there, because a lot of times that guides that conversation. All right, guys. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you all so much. Is there any questions, comments, or feedback? I see something in the chat that says hustler what? Kim, if I said that, please let me know.
No, that was my result from the quiz. It said the hustler at the end. I didn't even know that was an option. And it gives a little description. Yeah, it's concerning.
So what is the hustler? I haven't heard
it. Says that I always have to stay out in front and keep my side hustle strong if I'm going to continue to make those kinds of choices.
Okay.
I already closed the screen or I'd read it, but I was like, I didn't even know that was an option.
So that's good. I haven't. So mine was the banker for that one, right? And then for the other quiz, I also was the hoarder, right? So that's interesting, right? So at least you know your own personality. Like, I didn't even know if that was an option, right? But you checked in with yourself. So I loved that. And Bernice, thank you so much for, of course, being here. Any other questions or comments? Or Francesca, do you want to take over?
Thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciated your presentation. I thought it was great. And just to let everyone know, we do have a couple of minutes here put in for the Q&A. So feel free if you've got questions. I think I do see one here from Beatrice in the chat. It looks like she's from BGACDC, and I'm truly enjoyed the information that you're sharing. Oh, okay, not a question, just a comment. Just a comment that she enjoyed your presentation. But if anyone has any questions for Ashley, feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute yourself right now. I'll just give about a minute or two just to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to hear from Ashley one more time before we move on.
Thank you. And any question, you all, if it's a Salesforce question, if it's how do I keep clients, retention, all of that, if it's workshops, please, please, please. It doesn't have to be necessarily related to just the financial coaching component. As a financial coach in Houston, I wear many hats, of course, like you all in the FOC. And of course, we all help each other with the income supports and things of that nature. So if there is anything that you all would like to ask, please feel free to definitely do so. I'm here. I will also place my email address in the chat box. There's some tools that I utilize, some spreadsheets and things of that nature, some surveys. So please, and I see Meredith and Jessica. So whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first because I'm unmuted.
Okay.
I really like the concept of behavioral economics. And from a place of economic privilege, I do have a lot of freedom to answer in the way that I think people would respond well to, but I also understand people without money, they're trying to create an identity that's socially acceptable. So that pressure really, I think, guides their decision much more than, than what's guiding our decisions. So how do we not make them feel like they're making the wrong choice? They're trying to fit in. And we don't have that pressure.
Yes. So thank you for asking that question and being brave enough and honest enough to, ask that question. And then also identifying like, hey, this might be my bias, right? This may be something that I may not know how to do. So that's great. So one is realizing they're in control of their lives, right? That's the first thing, that they are creative, resourceful, and home. And helping them understand their why, right? Just think about it like this. I'm going to use food. Okay. COVID, I've gained a few pounds, not a few, but I've gained pounds, right? I know that I'm supposed to be meal prepping. I know that I'm supposed to be exercising every day. I know what I need to do. But for me, what is the most important thing in my life right now? Why am I putting that on the back burner? Am I scared? Did I just not feel like it, right? Check. So I have to identify that, right? So when you're speaking to the client, again, just have a conversation with them, right? If there are decisions that is like maybe on what we consider as financial coaches unhealthy, or if there's some things that we're like, maybe I wouldn't have chosen that choice, right? It's okay, again, because we're not experts. But ask the question and make sure that you revert it back to their why, right? For example, clients came in, we had plans for some client stimulus checks. They got them. I checked in with my clients. Some of my clients were great. They've invested, they've saved. And then some other clients were like, no, this came up. All of a sudden, there were a lot of needs that weren't there before, right? So I had to check in with the client and say, okay, right? Let's check back in with you and your goals. In the next month to 3 months, you said you want to accomplish A, B, C, E, D. How do we still get there? Right? So you don't have to be the expert. You just remember, their why, help them remember their why, and then also create that action plan with the clients so they can know how to get there, because sometimes they don't know, right? Or sometimes they may need a resource, right? Sometimes we may be the encourager for them emotionally, or be the only encouragement that says, hey, you can do this. So I hope that helped. Jessica, and I see some questions coming into the chat box and comments, and I will get to those in just a moment.
I think my question is, someone else had it in the comments also, but basically we really like the activities. What other resources would you share with us to retain clients' attention and just to have them more active with the financial part?
Love it. Thank you so much for asking that. So everyone has access to some type of texting option, right? Whether it's Salesforce or some type of text form. I know different, of course, is that the same with rural areas, Francesca? Okay, perfect. So I am a text blast and email blast fanatic, okay? One, for time management wise, and I'm also a survey, and I'm electronic everything, right? So what I do, and I can share some of the templates that I have, I can copy and paste them from Salesforce and put them in a spreadsheet for you all, so you all can, or a Word document, so you can copy and paste them. But I use text blast and email blast for everything, right? Whether it's a client enrolling in a twin account, I set a reminder in Salesforce or on my calendar to check in with that client, and I send blast out, right? If it's time for their payments, right? At the beginning of the month, I send a blast out to everyone. So I'm literally touching base with my clients. My clients are responding to me, and I'm sending out one text or email blast, right? It's the same thing when it comes to updating credit reports, when it comes to updating financial assessments. I utilize Teams to be able to create electronic surveys. My clients know that's the way that they pull in their information. And then I have an individual who's on my team. We enter that information and we're calling them as we're entering it, right? So really utilizing the text system option, really utilizing email blasts. And if you don't have access to maybe the Salesforce, I even utilize Google Voice, I believe. And I text from my computer, right? Workshops, I do the same thing. I'm very big on email and text blast because the clients get it. They usually have their phones in their hand, who doesn't? And then it's easier for us as coaches as well. And I can share those informations and spreadsheets and things of that with you all as well.
Thank you again so much, Ashley. We are just pulling up on time here, but thank you again for such a great presentation. I see we've got quite a few other comments here. And again, if anyone wants to reach out to Ashley, she was kind enough to put her email in the chat here, so you can just navigate to that and reach out to her directly. If you can't find that for whatever reason, you can always contact me and I can put you in contact with Ashley. But thank you so much, Ashley, for such a great presentation. Really appreciated your time here today.
Thank you all so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the next portion of our session here. And we have 2 breakout session options. So under the umbrella of financial coaching, we've created 2 breakout sessions for everyone to gather in. It is your choice. So hopefully we'll be able to populate those soon. But one of them is twin accounts. That's going to be led by our fantastic program officer, Liane, from Family Income and Wealth Building here at LISC. She is fantastic. We also have another breakout session that's going to be all about debt, student and medical debt. And oh my gosh, I've received so many questions about how to support clients with student or medical debt or just debt in general. So that's going to be held or moderated by Felicia. She's fantastic. She's working with ProMedica here in Toledo, Ohio. So please feel free to choose whichever breakout session is most of interest to you. You should see a little screen that pops up and you can select either room. And again, we have 2 rooms, one headed by twin accounts with Liane and one about debt, student and medical debt. And that's going to be moderated by Felicia. Let me go ahead and see if we can populate those rooms for you all. And we're going to have 30 minutes for everyone here to go and check out either one of these rooms. So you should see a pop-up. Feel free to choose the room that most interests you and head on in. And please put any questions that you have in the chat. Feel free to interact with your moderator and have a good breakout room. And I'll see you all in 30 minutes.
Francesca?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, it's Leslie. I don't see anywhere where I can click on anything.
Oh, you don't? Oh, let me take a look here. Looking at the
breakout session button on the bottom.
Oh, there was a little bit of feedback there. So I have the ability to assign you, Leslie, if you don't see that pop up. Which room were you thinking about?
What was one of them? What was the one on debt? What was the other one?
Twin accounts, the product twin accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead and put you over there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I just assigned you. I don't know if that popped up for you. Okay. There you go. If anyone else is having any trouble, let me know. I can manually assign you to either room. Again, there are 2 options: twin accounts, the product twin accounts, or debt, how to handle student and medical debt.
Francesca, this is Teresa.
Hi.
Can you assign me to debt?
Of course. Let me go ahead and take a look at my list here. Teresa. All right. Student and medical debt, Teresa. Okay. Okay. Put you in debt. Let me go ahead. I'll do that. Dwana, I'm putting you in debt. All right. Diane, get me into a breakout room. I'm seeing a few. Oh, Cassidy wants to go into debt. All right, Cassidy, let me find you on here. Put you into student and medical debt. Let's see, Angela and Diana, you guys still not seeing any options? Angela, you want debt? Okay, let me go
But
ahead.
you're not. I don't have any kind of pop-up. This is Diane. You can stick me into the first one.
Okay, let me go ahead and,
Thank you.
yeah. Let's see. Angela. Okay, Sean, you also want to go into debt. Okay, let me go ahead. You don't want to go into debt. You want to go into the breakout room for debt. All right, here we go. All right, I see another one for debt. Let me get you over there. Anyone else? You can feel free to put it in the chat or just take yourself off of mute and I can throw you in there.
Yeah, I'm still in your room. This is Diane. I
Oh,
didn't
oh
go
my gosh.
anywhere.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm just hanging out.
Here we go. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that worked. All right. See, there's a few other people in here. I see Joel, I see Paul, Jessica, Dustin, Angelica, Beatrice, Arthur. Are you guys interested in any of the rooms? Or if you want to just have a powwow here, we can do that too. Okay, Joel, I see you. You want to go into the room for debt. All right, throwing you in there. I am going to throw some people into some of these rooms, so let me know. Last chance.
Good morning.
Hi,
Good
Paul.
afternoon. What I missed the what chat rooms are there?
So there's a breakout room on student and medical debt, or there's a breakout room all about twin accounts, the product through list.
Do that. Yeah.
You want to do that one? Okay, let
Twin
me
accounts.
put you in there. All right, have fun.
All right. Thanks.
Can I do twin accounts as well?
Yeah, listen, I will throw you over there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Any final takers before I throw you into some of these? Arthur, send to 20 count. Okay. All right. That's the twin accounts. All right. Okay. Beatrice, D, Angelica, Jessica. Anybody interested in one of these? If not, that's okay. We can just hang out here if you want to, but they've got some pretty interesting topics to discuss on a presentation. I'm going to throw you into some of these.
Jessica is.
Oops. All right, I'm going to throw you into some of these here. Here we go. I've assigned a few people here. Oh, okay. Got a few messages on here. Looks like they're not going in there. Okay, so some of these people may just be away from their screen. That's totally fine. Hi, Pamela. How are you? You look so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I need to level up my how I look. Let's see here. Oh, you asked if you wanted to do a little intro. Yeah. So once they're done in these breakout rooms, which I have for 30 minutes, we'll have a break. So I scheduled the break. It's 15 minutes long. I may cut that down just to 10 minutes just because I ran over at the top of the hour. So I'm going to do a 10-minute break immediately following the breakout session, and then we'll open up with the employment coaching presentation. And I'll go straight into that on time, and I'll just let you take it from there so you can do a little intro and yeah, take it there. Awesome. Oops, I have been talking on mute. Sorry about that, guys. It's been a long Monday, even though it just started. We've got 2 rooms right now for breakout rooms, a twin accounts room and a student and medical debt room. So if you're interested, Carolyn, in hanging out in one of those rooms, if you want me to assign you to one, I can do that. We've got about 20 more minutes for those rooms. I'll let you choose. You can drop that in the chat. You can put yourself on speaker and let me know.
Yes, you could connect me with one of those rooms, please.
Yeah, are you interested in the debt or the product twin accounts, whichever one you want?
Debt, please.
Debt. All right, here you go. Okay, I will put you over there. Should see an option to join.
Thank you. Got it.
You got it? Okay, perfect. Well, Emily, it looks like Lionel got kicked out of the twin accounts room. If we can get someone over there, if we can get Lionel over there, that would be great. Room and kind of took over the conversation. So sorry, Felicia. But please enjoy a 10-minute break. We're gonna just take a pause on some of the presentation. I know we've been speaking for quite some time, so please enjoy 10-minute break, and then we can come back over here and come into the next portion of our agenda, which will be enjoying an employment coaching presentation put on by Pamela Cook. So in 10 minutes, please, if you can, meet back here for our employment coaching presentation, and I will see you then. on that? Oh, great. Okay. We're recording. So now it's official. But please take a look at some of the resources that she sent. If you do want to chat with her, I have access to her contact information. I'm sure I can provide it to you if that is okay with her. But yeah, she is a fantastic resource for twin accounts. So thank you all for sticking through some of those tech difficulties. And I will now pass it over to Pamela, our fantastic presenter. She is coming from the Chinese Community Center in Houston. She's an FOC Network coach. Take it away, Pamela. I think you're on mute.
I gotta still get used to this. Hi, my name is Pamela Cook. I'm the employment coach with the Chinese Community Center here in Houston, Texas, with our FOC department. Just to give you a little bit about myself, I'm originally from San Antonio, moved to Houston to go to school. And then I got into the corporate world working for a huge cellular phone service, and I worked in the HR department. After a merger, we were all laid off, so I ended up being unemployed. So I ended up jumping into the social service realm, where I started working as a disaster case manager for Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, and Ike, then started going into Section 8 housing, and then jumped back into case management for Hurricane Harvey as a disaster recovery. And then decided to jump over here as an employment coach, since I still had, some networking opportunities with a lot of people in HR. So that's why I'm here today. So I want to welcome you guys to my presentation, just to kind of tell you a little bit about what I do as an employment coach. So let me share my screen with you guys. And let me know if you can see it. So great. Want to welcome you guys to Employment Coaching 101. So today we'll talk about what an employment coach is, what we do, our duties, our coaching tools, and our wonderful challenges. So first, an employment coach coaches you on basically trying to pool your talents, develop your goals, see areas where you can improve for regarding employment opportunities. Now, our duties, we help clients identify with personal goals. We discuss overcoming personal barriers. We develop also leadership skills. We help clients to identify employment opportunities. We provide feedback on cover letters as well as resumes. We strategize on how to successfully come up with a great job interview. And we talk about promoting career opportunities and networking, and also doing workshops. So a lot of times I have to find myself sometimes doing individual face-to-face, or it might be individual virtual, or it might be as a group workshop. It just all depends on what needs to be coached upon. And then last and foremost, with anything, we always want to document to show if it's progressing or if it's not. But we always want to keep up with case notes. Now, our coaching tools, we have what we call assessments, SMART goals, as well as surveys. Now, assessments, those are normally quizzes and questionnaires to use to determine a person's goals, barriers, and skills. So I'm going to share with you briefly one of mine that I like to use. And this is just an employment questionnaire. Like, I ask if the person has a resume. If they don't, then that lets me know, number one, we need to create one. We talk about their professional backgrounds, the last time they started, the last time they stopped working, what positions and responsibilities that they had, reasoning for leaving positions, because that will also determine how they need to answer questions at an interview. If they left, if it was a negative impact or if it was a positive impact. What skills and qualifications do you have? If there's computer literacy, certifications, licenses, degrees, professional interests, what is their long-term goal at the end of the day? As of right now, during the pandemic, you have some people that are looking for survival jobs, and then some are actually looking for some type of stable employment. Now, our goal is to try to find something stable that they'll be able to grow on. Transportation, that's a big importance, because we need to know if that person has a car. Do they need to catch the bus? Do we need to find a job near a bus line? Things of that nature, especially here in Houston, Texas, because everything is stretched out. And we want to make sure that this person's going to be able to go to work on time. The last thing we want to do is have poor attendance, so this person's not coming in on time. That creates a negative effect. Whether or not they're currently employed. What type of jobs are they looking for? If they're looking for maybe working at a grocery store, maybe they're looking for something virtual. Maybe they're looking for something in retail. We kind of want to know what they're interested in. Then, of course, we get more into detail. What type of shifts are they wanting? What's their hourly pay? Whether or not they need benefits. Location, location, location. Again, Houston is big, so we don't want someone to have to commute an hour and a half drive when we could probably try to find something nearby. And of course, any other additional preferences. Then this determines on how fast we need to start coaching. What's their time frame as far as employment? Some people can get employed as fast as within a month. Some people need a little bit longer time, maybe because they need to get more skill set. Maybe we need to do more coaching, in reference to behavioral things. It can all vary. Do you have any children? And if so, do you have childcare already set up? And this is a big thing because affordable childcare is a challenge, which we'll go into further, but that lets us know also if that's going to create a barrier or not. And then we ask them how well their interview skills are. And that's just based on how they critique themselves, which means if they say they do a good job, that means that they feel confident about it. If they feel like they're not doing a good job, then that means we need to build their confidence up. And then also what areas of interview skills that they think they need to work on. And that could be appearance, which, a lot of times they may not have clothing for interviews. And if so, we have resources to provide that for them, whether it's verbal communication, qualifications. Sometimes it's even a person's body language, just the fact of them being nervous. Now, normally we would do this interview face to face because one, we get to hear the person's tone, we get to see their body language, how they sit up, how they talk to us, whether or not they're using their hands as far as, nonverbal cues. But because of the pandemic, we're having to be a little bit more creative with this. And we do it virtual to where we at least can coach them on what it's like to do a virtual interview. Okay, but this is just one of the assessments that we like to use to kind of get an idea of what they're looking for, how we need to coach them, and also it establish even more a rapport between you and that client, because you do have to establish trust before you can do anything with that client. So I will flip back to my PowerPoint. So again, that's just one type of thing that you can use to try to get an idea of what your client needs to do as far as what they need help in. Another part is going based on the SMART goals. And this is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. Each element of the SMART framework works together to create a goal that's carefully planned out, clear, and is trackable. For example, specific, what is your goal? What is your main goal, and how soon do you want to accomplish that goal? Now, measurable, how are we going to keep track of this? We have to create a development plan. Now, sometimes I like to use a map or like a calendar to say, okay, today, this is what we've done. Tomorrow, this is what we're going to do next. And let's keep looking at it and reviewing to see how things are going. We also want to be attainable. Like some people say, well, I want to find a job within 48 hours. Okay, that sounds great, but that's not necessarily realistic. So we want to create something that's going to be realistic, because what we don't want to do is sell them something and then they don't make it to that goal, because what's going to happen is their self-esteem is going to drop and they're no longer going to be interested in being coached. We also want to make it worth their while, create some goals. We want to celebrate with them each time they hit a new mark. We always want to make sure we're cheering them on. And again, we just want to make sure we're establishing things within a timely manner, when we can get it done and when it's complete. Okay, so that's just a SMART goal because it helps you kind of guide them through. And I'll explain to you a little bit more into why, because you can sometimes get caught up in between being a coach or a case manager. Then surveys. I like to do surveys not only when I coach them individually. When I do the individual ones, it's just to get an understanding of, did I do a good job that day? And did they walk away from something? Did they learn something from it? Or is it something else that they needed? Or is there something that maybe that they need to do to be able to achieve a goal? I also like to do group surveys to find out, okay, if my coaching sessions, if they're good, do I need to change maybe the times that I'm doing workshops? Do they prefer workshops during the day or in the mornings? Do we need to do something just on interviewing, just on resumes, or is it just more networking opportunities? That also lets me know how we need to proceed moving forward. And you can do these through Google Docs. You can also do them through, I believe it's SurveyMonkey, but there's several different free surveys that you can do, or you can just easily email it out to the clients and they'll respond back to you. But that just helps you measure exactly how you need to coach. Now, challenges. During the pandemic, we established a lot of different challenges and we're still going through it now, such as the biggest one has been workforce wages. Of course, everyone's saying they're hiring, but here's the thing. We notice that they're hiring, but they're hiring full-time, but it's only full-time during the day, which means if someone has a child, they need to be able to maybe work during the evening time. It can vary. Or what they're willing to pay is not going to be able to pay someone's bills. So they may be ready to start someone off at $11 an hour, but as far as the living wages, that's just not enough to be able to cover anything. Then you also have people who want to work remote versus working in the office. I know right now, a lot of the offices here are opening back up full force at 100%. And it's caused like a big kind of frenzy with a lot of people because now they're comfortable at working at home and they feel like they can be able to be just as productive. So the question is, do I quit my job and find another job that's willing to allow me to work from home, or do I go back into the office? The loss of skill set. I've actually had a few clients who have lost just different things, even myself. I noticed some people have forgotten how to drive because they've been stuck in the house so long. I never thought that would be something that we would ever talk about, but lost focus on how to type, maybe how to use the computer, doing things virtual. They lost that part. Lack of technology use. We have like a lot of seniors and, we have some, who just didn't have that opportunity to have technology in their home. So now they're having to get trained again to be able to use these things. Then mental health. We never knew mental health would be the biggest topic of discussion because of this, but it has, because it's affected also our professional behavior when we go into the workplace. A lot of us drag into work. We're not on time because we're still trying to grasp on functioning, being back into the office. We've lost etiquette on how to communicate with people. And so now we're having to get back into that. And we're also having to offer referrals, for counseling sessions, which a lot of times, a lot of our clients don't like to talk about counseling, but we're trying to encourage it and let them know it's okay to discuss this. The biggest part, domestic violence, was very big between men and women. And so that has also caused a lot of things because a lot of people were nervous to go back into the workforce for those reasons as well. And then of course, affordable childcare. We had a lot of, single parents that were working from home and also homeschooling. And now they're having to go back into the workplace and they don't have affordable childcare. So we're having to find resources to be able to offer them to some type of assistance there. So these are just some challenges that you're going to run into as you talk to the clients. And again, you won't know until maybe the first or second time that you start interacting with them. When they start establishing that trust, that's when you start finding out these little things. They're tidbits, but they can become very big if you're not careful. These are the things that you're going to run into. So what can you do as an employment coach? Okay, so here's where we get tricky. We try to offer resources. If we know of any agencies or if we have anything in-house, try to offer that to them to be able to find what they need. Now, coach versus counselor. As a coach, you offer the resources, but it's their job to do the work. So I like to use this tidbit that you are the driver, that client is the driver. I am just the passenger sitting in the seat with the map. So we both have an understanding of where we're going as far as the destination, but that person who's sitting in the driver's seat has to do the work. We're not social workers, so we don't do the application forms or do any of that form. We just give them what they need, offer support for them to be able to do the work for themselves. Okay. We also try to follow up just to see how things are going, but it's not our job to do the work for them. Networking. I did a thing over the pandemic. I used social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, just trying to find different ways of trying to find employment, trying to talk to more HR reps to kind of understand what they're looking for, discuss, why the pay wage is so low, why things are happening the way that they're happening, so I can be able to explain these things to the client so they can understand where an HR perspective is coming from. So I managed to find one group that's off of Facebook, and this is all they do, talk about HR policies and everything else, but they gave me a lot of good tidbits on what to discuss as far as to the clients, what kind of workshops they need to have. And I've even been able to work out with some of them locally to where we've done webinars so they can talk about employment opportunities. So I would say, do not be afraid to stick yourself out there and become creative and network with other people to find out what you need. Again, offer support as much as you can. Be their cheerleader, okay? But also let them do the work for themselves, because what that does is empower them. So it's not our job to do the work for them. It's our job to make them build that confidence in them. While they're doing this, they're establishing skill sets for themselves to be able to go out into the workforce. Then that goes into self-care. As an employment coach, it can be very, very stressful. And again, it can be very tricky because you're getting into people's feelings and skills. You might find out there's some different traumas on why they're not able to fulfill themselves to be a good, as far as a good candidate for employment. It's a lot of things you may find out. And what you do want to do is establish barriers and also be able to make sure that you take breaks and you take care of yourself. So self-care is any kind of activity that you do to take care of your mental, emotional, and your physical health. And I am a very big advocate on that, because you do deal with a lot of people's feelings. So I don't care if it's listening to music or if you're coloring. I like to color out my kids' coloring book from time to time. Whatever it is that you need to establish to make sure that you're in a good mental health capacity, please do so. Always give yourself some grace, and do not take your work home unless you're working from home. Self-care is important because it helps reduce that negative effects of stress. It prevents burnouts, and even more, it helps you to focus. So even if you need to get up, because I'm used to working at the desk and I don't like to take breaks because I'm just liking to work my way through. Even now I'm having to learn, like, let me get up, let me stand up, let me take a break and walk away, let me go outside, just so I can reset. Because sometimes we're working so hard, we're working like a machine, just trying to make sure we can be there, everybody, but we don't take care of ourselves. And so that's a very big thing to make sure you want to do that. Words of wisdom. Thinking outside of the box means that the box still exists. Blow the box up. And that's from Daryl Coach D. Andrews, meaning this: the box shouldn't be there anymore. We should be able to be creative with these positions, to be able to network and achieve whatever we need to establish goals, to be able to help our clients at the end of the day. Last and foremost, when you're dealing with social services, you have to learn how to be fluid, which means be able to work with change. Change is going to always happen, and it can be stressful if you allow it to do so. But if you're fluid like water, you just kind of go with the flow of stuff, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You just make sure you stay relaxed and you work as a team to be able to get the job done. And then I'm gonna add a third one. Don't be afraid to talk to other people within your realm, even though they might not be an employment coach. That might be a financial coach, but he or she may be able to offer you some gems, so you can be able to learn it from a different perspective. So just be open to talking to other people in order for you to help out your clients. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, well, Miss Francesca, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Really appreciate your presentation and your knowledge here. We do have some time here, so if anyone has any lingering questions about employment coaching, this is a big topic. I'm always getting questions about it at our peer sessions, in our TNA sessions, and our monthly meetings. If anyone wants to pick Pamela's brain about some of the ways to navigate it, some of the challenges that she was presenting, which I know a lot of our coaches have been dealing with, and a lot of our clients have been dealing with. I mean, this is an unprecedented and challenging time. I know that it's very much oversaid, but it's very true. So if anyone has questions or just things that they want to pick Pamela's brain about, feel free, type it in the chat. I'm here looking at that. You can also tap yourself and take yourself off of mute. Feel free to take up space.
One question I would have, Pamela, and thank you so much. That was a fantastic presentation. But one question I have, and my colleagues at the foundation have, is when we're talking about working with coaches, and I love that you ended on the mental health piece. We're doing a lot of talking and thinking right now around not only how we better support coaches to do their function better, but how do we like support them better as people? And I'm wondering, like, what are some of the things that, you know, you have done or you're seeing people do? Because as we develop, you know, trainings and support, we also want to be really cognizant of the fact that we're not coming up with new trainings and supports because you're doing something wrong or what you're doing is inadequate. And you, even though that is clearly not the intention, we want to be really mindful of the language we use and how things could come off, even though it's in the spirit of development. So I wonder what, you know, your thoughts are there in terms of just really making sure that when, even as we build out supports, we're not losing sight of the fact that, hey, this is somebody's work, this is somebody's passion. You know, how am I talking to this person?
Oh, I think it just varies between, you know, each person. Each individual, you have your own rapport with them. So, you know, you may have some where it's just strictly client coach based. And then you have some where, you know, more personal information to where it's more at a relaxed setting to where, okay, well, are you open for me, you know, to tell you something or discuss this with you, especially if it's dealing with mental health. Like I've had one person, she just literally like in the midst of just typing and just doing basic computer skills. She said, yeah, I guess I'm not getting this right because my husband used to knock me over the head a couple of times. And it was like, ooh, okay. Do you want to talk about that right now? And she was like, well, I guess I need to talk about it. So I was like, well, how long ago was this? And so she finally started explaining different things to me. And I was like, well, do you feel like maybe you're not processing things because of this? And she was like, well, probably so. And I was like, well, look, before we go into any deep detail, I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not a therapist at all. That's not my spectrum. However, I am, you know, open to always telling somebody, you know, to think about maybe talking to somebody about it. And she was like, well, I never thought about that. You know, we're normally just used to just working and doing what we have to do. This is true. But you obviously felt a certain type of way in front of the computer to where you said this to me. And it makes me wonder, how do you handle this in the workplace? And because she's had, you know, in talking to previous employers that we worked with her with, come to find out she's had outbursts and she's done a couple of things that's kind of out of the norm anyway. So for her to say that, that allowed me to say, okay, well, now we need to take a step back and assess some things because this is not your fault, but something triggers you for you to have these outbursts. And so now it's at least now she's open. We've given her the referral. Whether or not she uses the referral or not, that's up to her. But at least she knows, we know her condition, we understand how it works. And now we're able to not necessarily tiptoe around her, but we understand that there's definitely a mental health situation there. And whoever's gonna, you know, work with her, they need to understand that there is something there and we just don't want her to be triggered. So you have to be very careful on how you tread into that.
Now, this was a coach, this person who had the outburst and what have you, this is somebody that was being coached, or this was a coach that was actually expressing, and this is what happens? Because my original question was about coaching, but this was still super helpful.
This was an actual client that we've been working with for
client.
about 2 years, and she's been employed, but then she doesn't keep a job. And so the question was talking to the employers why she's not keeping the job. And so the situation is, you know, she's a senior. So she feels like sometimes she's too old. So we're trying to coach her into knowing about technology and different things. But again, it just went back into as talking to her and finding out her employers why she's having these outbursts. She's having these triggers, and that causes her to have outbursts. Let's see, how often are you in contact with people for coaching? Good question. So what I do is my assessment, it just depends. I have some that I can maybe contact on, you know, a weekly basis. Some are every 2 weeks and some are monthly. It just depends on the need for that person. If a person already has a resume, they already know how to do job searches. They already know what their skill sets is. They already have an idea of what type of employment they're looking for. Then I might just reach out to them like maybe every 2 to 3 weeks just to see, hey, how many jobs have you applied for? Have you gone to any interviews? What's the success, that you've had happen? And a lot of times come to find out they may have found employment, but they're like, well, Miss Pam, the unemployment is better for me right now than going out and getting this $10 an hour job. I can't take care of my family this way. So they may figure, well, let's still go through the coaching process, but I may decide to go to school or take a certification just to build my skill sets up so I can get a better job. So those would be like my every 3-week clients. But then I have some that, maybe there's a language barrier. They don't have a resume. They don't know where to go apply for jobs. Those are the ones that I'm looking at on a weekly basis. They need a little bit more attention. So it just depends on that type of person. But I put them in between weekly, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, depending upon the need. Now, if they want to jump in on the workshops, because I do workshops every week. Most of them are virtual. I have a couple of them that are face-to-face. So if they're able to attend, just register and attend. They can attend that at any time they want to. But if they want one-on-one coaching, then they would have to set up an appointment with me. Okay, this question is, when the client need more resource, do you guys partner with other community agencies? Yes. Now we are through United Thrive. We also communicate with other agencies within that. But again, I did a couple of things, research outside of just United Thrive. I have a few friends that are having nonprofit agencies, and they have also vocational classes, also resources. So my thing is, I've been trying to do like virtual meetings with like a lot of the agencies to find out, okay, what kind of resources do you have? What kind of classes do you have? So if I'm not having a class that they're interested in, let me refer you over here. I found out another person that I know has a class that's for a phone technician, which is great because this would be good for people who have felonies and they're having a hard issue with finding a job. They don't need to have a very good background for that type of job. So, and then on top of that, the class is for free and they already have an employer that they can get hired through. So if I know someone who has a background, I could either refer them through CDL, through my training, or I could refer them over to this other agency. So again, think outside the box. Don't be afraid to talk to other agencies. We all come full circle at the end of the day. How do I assess the outcomes? And how long do you conduct follow-up with people served? Okay, now I assess the client's outcomes really just by talking to them, and again, based upon the need. If it's weekly, twice a week, or monthly, I also have a spreadsheet where I can say, okay, this person has an interview this day. And what I like to do is set up while I have the appointment with that person, when do you want to talk again? So that way I don't have to create the follow-up time. We're creating the follow-up time together, and they're also committing that time to me to let me know what their outcome is. And that way we can, discuss what happened, how did it go, what do we need to change, and things of that nature. So that's how I like to do the follow-ups. I set it up directly with them. I don't like to wait to call them. I like for us to just set up an appointment and we have an understanding, and that's what's going to happen. Anyone else? And good question, Cassidy.
I think we got a message in the chat, Pamela. I think that was Santa. She was asking about the HR Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you maybe had a link to that, or if you knew how to direct her to something similar.
I would say look for HBCUHR. And this was established for those who went to historical Black colleges and universities. However, it is open. And it's just a bunch of people who are in there who work in HR, or they're trying to obtain their SHRM license. And they even have a GroupMe page, well, GroupMe chat line where they chat all day long about just everything, policies, all of that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Any last minute questions, you guys? And we do have some time at the end to wrap up and check in one more time with all of the presenters. So don't worry if you don't remember any questions right now. We have some time at the end. I am going to pivot all of us over. So we have another breakout session option here. So we've got two options. One is about skills-based coaching. That's going to be led by our fantastic Markle rep, Joy. She was actually just chatting with you, Pamela. We also have another breakout session called employer engagement. So there are two breakout sessions, everyone. I'll go over it again. One is called skills-based coaching. So if you're interested in learning what skills-based coaching is, how you can incorporate it into your own coaching, you can enter that breakout room. If you're interested in learning more about employer engagement, how to engage the local employers in your community, in your coaching, within your FOC, you can join that one. There are two, so please go ahead and make your choice. I'm going to see if we can make those rooms available now. Okay, I have opened all of the rooms. You should be getting a little notification that allows you the option to join. If you don't get that notification, that's fine. You can just drop your request in the chat or take yourself off of unmute and let me know. I know some people are joining on their phone. Some people are joining not with the Zoom application, but just with the desktop version. So there's some tricky methods to joining sometimes. So let me know. Let's see here. I've got a request. D, you want to go on employer engagement? All right, I will assign you.
Thank you.
Cassidy, I see your request here. You want to go into employer engagement. I will put you in that room in just a second. Okay, you're good to go. Still see there's a couple people here. Let me know if you're having trouble getting into either one of these rooms. Again, there are two options, skills-based coaching and employer engagement. So you should be able to select the room that you're interested in having a casual conversation with either of these two moderators here who are going to be guiding the conversation on either skills-based coaching or employer engagement. If you don't have that option or you're having trouble, put it in the chat or take yourself off of mute. Okay, Angelica, I see that you want to go into employer engagement. I will throw you in that room now. Teresa, I see your request for skills-based coaching. I will throw you in that room right now. And anyone else who's still lingering here, if you want some assistance, otherwise I'll just throw you into the rooms here because they're both presenting some really interesting stuff. Haley, you want to go into skills-based coaching? All right, let me get you in there. Erica, you want to go into employer engagement? Okay. All right, anybody else? Let me know which room you want to go into. They've both got presentations geared up. Pamela, okay, let me throw you into employer engagement, Pamela. Or I'm sorry, skills-based coaching. There you go. All right. Carolyn, Carrie, Pamela, Dustin, Corey. Let me know if any of the rooms interest you. I might just throw you in either one. Last chance here before I throw you guys into either one of these rooms. They've both got really interesting presentations. Carrie, Carolyn, Pamela, Dustin, Corey, anybody? All right, I'm gonna throw you guys into these rooms over here. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hi, Holly. I see you just joined our Zoom session here. If you're wondering why this current room is a little lackluster, we have ongoing right now 2 breakout rooms. One breakout room is about employer engagement. We're having a conversation about how to engage local employers within your FOC coaching. We have another breakout room about skills-based coaching, and we have a great representative who's going to go over what that is, how to incorporate it into your coaching, why it's important. If you're interested in either one of those breakout rooms, you should get a pop-up option to join, or I can manually sort you into those rooms. Again, for anyone else who is joining right now, if you're interested in joining either one of those breakout rooms, let me know and I can put you in there. There are 2: skills-based coaching and employer engagement. Okay. Hello, everybody. Just checking in here. It's about time when we're wrapping up the breakout sessions. If you've already done so, move over to the main room. I just sent out a broadcast message and I will be closing the breakout rooms so we can all reconvene back over here in the main sessions. And don't worry, both Joy and Shalonda will be in the main room here. So if you still have lingering questions or you had a really great conversation that I unfortunately cut short, you will be able to chat with them. And if anyone has any lingering questions or technical difficulties, feel free to throw that in the chat. I am monitoring that. And we can get moving to the wrap-up session here. I know it's been a long FOC pre-session. I'm closing all the rooms here, so hopefully people start filtering in. I know I probably cut off some really good conversations. We can still keep having them. We've got some time here. We are wrapping up. We've got until about 3 o'clock CST time. I know I'm on the West Coast. We have my PST friends. We are wrapping up soon. I'm just going to let people filter in from some of the breakout rooms, and then we'll get started with the wrap up. Joy, I am so sorry. I know I cut you off. I'm sure you were having really great conversations. So sorry to do that to everybody. Hopefully it was a really fun and productive conversation, and we've got plenty of time still to chat with everyone here. Hopefully everyone has moved over from the breakout rooms. I think we have. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. So first and foremost, I just want to say a big thank you to all of our presenters and our breakout session moderators. I know a few of them did have to run, but if we still have Ashley Bush here, if we've still got Lione, who moderated the Twin Accounts room, if we still have Felicia, who moderated the Debt, Student, and Medical breakout room, if we've got Pamela still here, who did the employment coaching. I know Joy is here. I just closed her breakout room super early for skills-based coaching. And Shalonda from employer engagement, I know we just closed that room as well. If you guys just want to be on here just so that we can entertain any last minute thoughts or questions. I'm sure you guys had some really great conversations. I couldn't be in all the rooms at once, I wish I could have been. It would be nice to learn a little bit more about some of these topics. But if anyone has any lingering questions about any of the topics that we went over, employer engagement, skills-based coaching, the employment presentation, or the sessions earlier, the financial coaching presentation, twin accounts, the product, or debt, student and medical, feel free, now is the time, throw them in the chat before we wrap up. Let me know your thoughts. Was there something that was particularly interesting or exciting? Did you learn something new? I know skills-based coaching this is a first introduction to the Role Lisk FOC network here with all of our coaches. I'd love to know your thoughts on that, guys. How was the presentation? Did you like interacting with Joy? What were some of the things that you were chatting about with skills-based coaching? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'm sure Joy would too. Oh, it's that end of the sessions where I know we're running low on steam here. I just want to give everybody the chance to interact one last time. So if there's things that you want to chat about, if you have lingering questions for any of our moderators, any of our presenters, I know Joy is still here. Joy asked a question. Is twin accounts coaching only for rural Lisk? It is not. Good question. We actually have that available for the entire Lisk network. Line is actually from Lisk National, and so I interact with her quite a lot, and she is go-to program officer for all things twin accounts. But we've got that available for both rural Lisk National and, Lisk National and rural Lisk. They are one entity, but they've got kind of separate engagements sometimes. And it's available for everybody. And we've got quite a lot of opportunities and resources available, whether it's one-on-one hour-long webinars, whether it's PDFs or coaching guides, how to interact with twin accounts, how to make it available to your clients, how to onboard. We've got all of that widely available. And we can answer any questions about that now. If anyone has any other lingering questions, again, about twin accounts or about any of the other topics. I know you're chatting about skills-based coaching. Shalonda was chatting about employer engagement. If you've got any thoughts on that.
I might have conflated it a little bit. I think I was thinking of rural Lisk and Lisk as like interchangeable, which I think they are, but like, are they, if you're outside of either rural Lisk or Lisk, will you still be able to have access to it or no? And I ask because it's just financial literacy is another theme that comes up, quite frankly, in our work. And we're looking for, and I think I actually said in that session, we're looking for different resources and programs that support that. So is it just within the Lisk family, or are they also supporting folks that aren't necessarily connected to Lisk?
Yeah, good question. And I did misconstrue that. So it is technically the product is available for outside the Lisk network. However, we have a special arrangement with with twin accounts in that we have a matching program attached to that specific product that all of our rural Lisk coaches work with. So anytime an FOC within the rural Lisk network or even within the Lisk network gets onboarded with twin accounts, they have to go through an onboarding process. Then they're able to provide twin accounts to their clients, and the clients get access to matching funds that Lisk provides. So you're able to actually save. The way it works briefly is that the client is able to save, hopefully be able to save, put $25 down a month, hopefully able to save $300. Lisk will match another $300. So by the end of it, the client walks away with the $300 they had saved previously plus $300 match funds. So that is $600. And it's a really great product. We're able to encourage saving that way, especially incremental saving, and help build up not only credit scores, but also a savings account, in some cases, an emergency savings funds. A lot of people don't have those. So yeah, it's a great tool, but only Lisk gets the matching, which is a nice little treat. Any other questions, guys, for any of the moderators or presenters, or just things that were interesting? Let's see. Oh, I've got a few people here typing in the chat, and feel free to take up space here. You can unmute yourself, or you can throw your comments in the chat. That's totally fine. See, Sheila, she's just getting started. Is there a boot camp of sorts for the upstarts? You mean for like the FOC upstarts, like people who are interested in starting an FOC, or you mean like for coaches who are just getting onboarded to an FOC? Sheila, let me know what you're differentiating here. But there is in a way for both, but I'll let you clarify that before I answer it. Joel says here, as a new coach, all this info is really helpful. Oh, great. Well, I'm happy that it was helpful for you, Joel. Was there something in particular maybe that was interesting to you? I don't know which moderators or breakout sessions that you were in, Joel. So let me know if one was especially interesting to you, or if you missed out on one and you wanted to learn a little bit more about it. Now is the time. Let's see, Sheila. Okay, so an FOC and coaching. Okay, yeah. So definitely there's, well, I guess I wouldn't quite call it a boot camp, even though that would be an interesting concept. There is a traditional onboarding process in which you work with, like, in our case, our director, Emily Avery. She's the Rural LISC FOC director for alignment. And she really helps all of the FOCs or organizations, especially like advocacy organizations who are interested in becoming FOCs. We have a whole onboarding process where we see if there is alignment there, if there is the ability, the capability of your organization to work with LISC, what you're looking for, if LISC has the resources and the tools and the direction and the vision that really align with your organization. And then we've got a whole onboarding process. It can take anywhere, I'd probably say from like maybe 9 months to a year to really like prep the organization to get ready for this kind of FOC onboarding, because it really is, it's a whole layer, it's a whole programmatic model that we are putting over whatever sustaining model that your organization is currently running with. So there's a lot of things to kind of consider before an organization becomes an FOC, but we certainly walk you through the whole process. We make all of our resources readily available. We've got, as you've seen here today, this is just a small snippet of what we have available. We have constantly like putting on webinars, putting on speaker engagements. We have plenty of like resource guides for how to navigate all of our resources. We actually have a dedicated resource website hub for all of the resources that we have, because we have so many. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen that page. And as for coaching, when your organization becomes an FOC, that is the other thing that we provide. We provide coaching and trainings of so many kinds. Oh my gosh, we've got financial coaching, employment coaching, we've got credit builder coaching, how to support clients in building credit, how to navigate some of the credit tools and resources. We work with Credit Builders Alliance. I'm not sure if any of our folks are familiar with them. They're a fantastic organization. We help you navigate their resources, help you implement CBA membership into your FOC so that you can collect the scores from your clients and help them build up credit. We've got, oh my gosh, we've got so many trainings, and we're coming out with them like almost quarterly. There's always like a concurrent session of 2 trainings at once, with different schedules and different days. So people get the option to choose which training works best, what topic is more interesting. We also have trainings based on like seniority. So if someone is coming in as a new FOC coach, we've got like financial coaching one-on-one trainings. If someone has been an FOC coach and now is moving into like a managerial role or like a supervisor role, we've got trainings for those folks. Honestly, we've got so many trainings. I can't stress how many we have. So if you're looking for more, let me know. You can always contact me. I'm pretty sure my email is available, but I'm gonna throw it in the chat just in case. So if you have any lingering questions about the resources, the trainings, or any of our moderators or presenters today, you can shoot me an email. And I was gonna mention this a little later on, but just so that you know, all of the presentations that were made available today, I have them. So I'm going to send them all to everyone here who is able to attend. So look out for an email from me. If there's anything else that you want from me, like if you want direct contact with maybe one of the presenters or moderators and you weren't able to grab it earlier on, shoot me an email and I will put you guys in contact, because this is what they're here for. They are fantastic points of contact. They've got great information. I want to make sure you guys are supported. So please, any other comments or things that you want to chat about, any other lingering questions you have about any of the sessions, let me know. We've still got some time here. We don't have to end. I think we still have about like 20 minutes or so. Please stick around for the session after this, just so that you know. The session after this, I believe, is a meet and greet with a few of our leadership team, members from our leadership team, including Caitlin Kane, She is our VP of Rural LISC. I do not know if she is on here. I know she jumped in here not too long ago. But if Caitlin Kane is here, I was going to introduce you to her, but if not, she will be meeting and greeting all of us virtually at the session immediately following this. So if you have questions for Caitlin about the vision of Rural LISC, feel free to attend that session. Let's see here, we've got a few things in the chat here. Joy dropped her email below. So if anyone is interested in following up with Joy about skills-based coaching, which I'm super excited about, let me know. I wasn't able to attend the session. So if someone wants to let me know any interesting tidbits from that, any interesting conversations, what you think about skills-based coaching, do you like it? How are you going to integrate it? Please let me know. I'm very curious. Let's see here, Jessica, even if we did not attend a session because of schedule conflict and did not attend our agenda, can we check it out? Yeah, you can check out anything. That's totally fine. I know everyone here is managing a lot. I'm sure, I don't know if everyone has the day off. It is Indigenous Peoples Day. So thank you for taking some time out of today's holiday. I don't know if everyone is working, but I'm sure everyone is busy nonetheless. So even if you weren't able to attend all of the sessions here, see all the presentations, feel free, shoot me an email and I can send you the presentations. I do believe we're going to be, we've been recording all of these main sessions. So if you didn't go to a breakout session, unfortunately, we couldn't record those. We can only record what's in the main session here. So I can send you any of the presentations from those breakout sessions, but we just don't have, a video recording of what went down. But again, if you want to touch base with any of the moderators, feel free to shoot me an email and let me know who you'd like to touch base with, and I can put you in contact with them. Let's see here. All right, guys, I've been talking so much. Does anyone else want to share here anything interesting from any of their breakout rooms or any lingering questions for any of the presenters? Anything you want to touch base on? Or we can keep it casual. I'm happy to do that. If you guys are interested in just chatting about how you're doing so far with working with, LISC, with maybe you're a new coach and you're kind of getting onboarded to the FOC, let me know what you think. Do you like LISC? Hopefully, do you like the resources? Also, let me know what you'd like more of. Is there a resource that you'd like to see more of? Is there a topic you'd like to see discussed? Is there, I'd love to know what we can do and what I can do as an assistant program officer to help everybody here. I know we're coming in on time here, so I know I've lost lost a lot of people.
Hey, I'll speak, Francesca. This is Sue out here in Pennsylvania. I am forever grateful for all the resources that we have gleaned from, not just from the LISC website, but from you folks as well. Not only the training, but the support, the guidance that's given, the encouragement. To coach us the way you do, to get the best out of us that we can try to give, has been really helpful for our site, which struggled in the beginning and is still persevering. Today, I really enjoyed the employment coaching because I have never had the chance to be in an employment coaching extensive training. We do have a financial coach who has been able to do those things, but this has been my passion for many years, and I've truly enjoyed that session. I'm looking forward to checking out those resources we were given today. So thank you so much for a really good afternoon, really.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy that you enjoyed it. I really enjoy a lot of the resources here, but most importantly, I want to know that they are working for you, that you like them. And if there are opportunities for us to improve, by all means, please let me know. I want to make sure that we're providing you with the best resources, the best tools, the best communication pathways, all of it. So let me know if you liked something, if something worked, it didn't work, that's totally fine. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for spending all this time with me. And then you see me and hear from me all the time. So I can't imagine you want to spend more time with me, but thank you for taking the time today to chat with me and chat with all of our moderators and our presenters. I did want to point out here, because we still have some more time, and just in case anyone has any lingering questions, again, feel free to put it in the chat or take yourself off of mute. This is the time. We still have, like 20 more minutes here. Let's see. Oh, I got a comment here. Looks like, oh, so we've got a comment here in the chat from Tracy and Shalonda. It looks like Shalonda was just responding to that. But yeah, if you've got any lingering questions for Shalonda, for Joy, Shalonda was in the employer engagement breakout room. So if you weren't able to attend that room and you want to just briefly touch on that, you can, put something in the chat for her. Joy was moderating the skills-based coaching room. So if you wanted to briefly touch on that, or if there was something interesting about that room, about that topic, about skills-based coaching, I think that's a great strategy. I really like the idea of focusing on skills as opposed to the accumulated credentials or degrees, especially now. It allows people to really pivot into the employment market without being bogged down with not having a 4-year degree or an MA or not having the right credentials. So I think it's a really interesting pathway. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think about that. Or if you have other thoughts, feel free to toss it in the chat or take up space here. We've got plenty of time.
I did just want to comment in the employer engagement breakout room. It was really kind of cool to hear some of the ideas and perspectives on how COVID has impacted employment patterns within our communities and how we can really leverage the resources that we have with our employment and training programs, because we can be helping direct, eligible employees or prospective employees to employers who maybe haven't engaged in the past. It really makes me want to circle back around to previous contacts that we've had just to see if there are new opportunities. Maybe in the past they weren't super keen on participating within our programs, but now that there's such a shortage, we help train some really incredible people. And I think it's just a really awesome way to leverage that resource that we have that we can help provide. So I just felt like that was a really helpful conversation to think of it in that perspective.
That's fantastic. I totally agree. I think we've heard that, at least I've heard that quite a few times, that even though you've got local employers in the area, FOCs and coaches have done their due diligence and tried to make contact, tried to establish a relationship, and it's just, nothing has really come of it. And now we're seeing a big turning point. I mean, this has been very challenging for a lot of people, but the leverage is there. And I think it's a good opportunity to capitalize on it, especially, employers know this is my perspective, but the labor market shortage is not a shortage. There are plenty of people willing and looking for work, but what they're looking for is quality, living wage, dignified work that values them as an employee and really as a contributor to the organization or wherever that they're working. And really, I think we're seeing a big change between some of the perspectives from on the employer side of how they're viewing their employees, and really having to make some big changes, because if you don't have employees, you're not going to be able to have an organization. And the best way to do that is to work with them, work with the employees, work with the FOCs, work with local advocacy organizations who are looking to support the community. We're all looking to create thriving communities. This is a great opportunity to do that. So personally, I know it's been challenging for everyone, but like you said, I'm seeing really good leverage here, and I'm seeing people facilitate it in the right ways to advocate for their clients, to advocate for their communities. So if anyone else has interesting things to share, especially about how challenging it's been to coach in the middle of a pandemic, I can't stress enough, all the stories that I have heard, all of the direct coaching that I've seen taking place, that, everyone is working extremely hard right now. And I appreciate it. I know I'm not a client of anyone's. I would love to be. I could always use coaching. I always need help. As I said earlier, I divulged. I'm a recovering spender. So I've been making a lot of changes for a lot of years. But I just want to thank everybody for being a part of this work to whatever degree you are a part of, whether you're a coach, whether you're FOC staff, whether you're tangentially related in another field. Thank you so much for the work that you do, because honestly, it's very much needed, and it contributes to the success of your communities and honestly our economic infrastructure. I mean, this is really the work that's being done. This is workforce development work on the ground. This is applied economic and workforce development work. And I'm honored to be able to speak with everyone and provide these resources. And I hope that the resources are helpful. So let me know your thoughts. If you liked anything else, if you had any other interesting conversations, or if there are other resources or things that you want to see from me, from Rural LISC, from the seminar, let me know. And I did want to point out here, and I'm going to see if I can share my screen really quickly, just so I